Until a few years ago, I was that guy that would say, I am not a morning person. In fact, I didn't even understand morning people. And why are they so arrogant about being morning people? Why do they want to change me? I'm happy how I am. If you're a morning person, let me do me and you do you. And then I became a morning person. Let's track it back. As a teenager, I picked up the skill of website development, and on the weekends, I would wait until everybody in the house is asleep before I open my laptop and begin developing websites. I would tell people that I can only work and only focus in the nighttime. I would work from like 10 p.m. to 2 a.m., thinking that was when I was at my optimum performance. I was convinced that some people are just morning people and others just aren't. That was until I started taking my faith more seriously, and someone somewhere dropped a passing comment that there's more barakah in the mornings. And that made my ears perk up. You mean to tell me that there's this time where I can get more done and have this spiritual boost to help optimize my time? Now I'm intrigued. We hear all the time of the most successful people waking up early. And so it was no surprise that when I started looking into it, I found that specialists would say that mornings are when we have the highest level of strength and focus. Dr. Alex Dimitriou, a psychologist specializing in sleep, said, "The trouble with being a night owl is that your sleep gets clipped in the morning hours, where most of the precious REM and dream sleep occurs. And the result of that," mentions Deborah Skeen of Surrey University, "is that this misalignment can disrupt many bodily processes, putting us at an increased risk of cardiovascular disease, cancer, and diabetes." If we put all of that research jargon to the side for a second, I want to tell you guys 3 real benefits that I actually experienced when switching my routine from being a night owl to becoming a morning person. Benefit number 1, quality time with the people who matter most. Waking up early means that I can start my work early and therefore finish my work early, so I can come home and spend the bulk of my evening with my family guilt-free, as opposed to waiting for them to fall asleep so I can start my work. Benefit number 2, not burning myself out. By waking up early, I started to feel less panicky about the things I had to do because I wasn't sleeping half of my day away. This resulted in feeling a lot more happy and thus being able to radiate positive vibes. When I used to work till late, I would often feel like I'm burning my brain out, and yeah, it didn't feel that nice looking back at it. Benefit number 3, a healthier diet. So I was not in the best shape in my teenage years, and while there are probably numerous factors, there's no doubt that eating late and keeping myself going through snacking in the late hours was really not helping. I'm definitely not a dietary expert, but I know that eating late and then sleeping on that is going to do me some long-term damage. And while by waking up early, I probably do start eating earlier than a person who wakes up late, I also have a lot more chance of burning that off in my general non-exercise movement throughout the day, as opposed to eating at 1 a.m. and then just not doing any movement before sleep. So now we come to the question of how to become a morning person. And again, I know so much research exists on this online and practical ways online. So I'm just going to tell you guys 3 ways that I'm able to remain a morning person and how I was able to convert to becoming a morning person. Tip number 1, you have to want to do it. You need to look forward to the mornings. Josh LaMonica mentioned in our last live event that he loves what he does so much that he sometimes is even too excited to sleep.
And it comes down to one simple thing. Do you have a dream? Do you have a goal? Because if you are waking up, or even if you're going to sleep and have no motivation to get up in the morning, sometimes I can't even sleep at night because I'm too excited to wake up and continue with whatever goal or project or dream that I am trying to achieve.
And this is probably more of a macro long-term goal. So maybe this is a good point to look at your own life, and if you feel like you don't enjoy what you're waking up to every morning, perhaps it's time to change that career. Perhaps it's time to find a new hobby or even remove things from your life that you've been thinking about removing for a while. Tip number 2, sleep early. I don't care how many people make fun of me. I sleep early. And early is not even that early. I basically figured out that my optimum sleep time is around 7 hours. So these days, Isha comes in around 10:40. So let's say I'm in bed by 11 p.m. and I know that at some point in the night, I'm going to be up for around 30 minutes for Fajr. So my ideal time right now to wake up is 6:30 a.m. That way I get my 7 hours sleep even with the 30-minute Fajr break. In the winter, I try and be in bed by about 10:30 so I can wake up at about 5:30 in the morning, ideally. Oh, and the weekends count too. I used to have this rule that Sunday is my one day where I won't set an alarm. I allow myself to wake up at whatever time I want, even if that's 1 p.m. But for a few years now, I have removed that rule. I'm not saying it's bad. If you want to do it, you can. But I found that waking up early 7 days a week just allowed me to have extra time in my morning to catch up on work, personal projects, or make some apology donuts.
I still wanted to ask you just about your donuts. So how did you get into the donut
Industry.
the donut game? Yeah.
Do you want to know the truth? I remember like we were in lockdown, and I remember one time something like that. My missus mentioned that she was like craving a donut, right? And what had happened is maybe a few days or a few weeks later, as all couples do, we had a bit of an argument. And so I obviously wake up really early in my general days, and so I was awake while she was asleep, and at like 6 o'clock in the morning, as like a peace offering, I homemade, because we were in lockdown, so no, you couldn't get them anywhere. I made donuts from home, and it worked. And lastly, set a routine. If you wake up and you have no idea what to do, you're going to end up back in bed. So set yourself a routine. I do the exact same thing every morning. And whilst my routine is now revolved around Zakaria, I would have a morning routine even before I was a dad. An example of a morning routine could be wake up at 6 a.m., have breakfast and a coffee while catching up on the news and current events, set aside 15 minutes for Quran, jump in the shower, and get ready for work. And you can add and remove things as you like. So that's that. That's why I became a morning person, the benefits I found in it, and some tips on how you can become a morning person too. Now, here is a challenge that I'm going to set. Even if you don't want to do it, I challenge you guys for 7 days straight to become a morning person. So that means if you're waking up already at 8 o'clock in the morning, start waking up at 6. If you're waking up at 6, wake up at 5:30. Generally, I wouldn't really wake up any earlier than 5:30 if I'm honest. But if you're the type of person who wakes up at 10 or 11 or 12 on a weekend, just try and move that to 8 or 9 and see if it benefits you. Just do 7 days straight, and if it affects you positively, stick to it. And if you want to share this challenge with any friends or family, I'd be ever so grateful if you share this video with them, as it will help me with the growth of my channel. Jazakallahu khair. I will see you guys on the next video. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.